Greetings and salutations here. It is Saturday in June, and we are here at Game Empire Pasadena. And here's my opponent, Richard. Okay, we're about to play Heath the Attack with his veteran Panzer Company going up against my hero Tankovies. But other action that's happening over there, we've got the Hungarians going up against the Russians. Okay, cheering for the Russians to win. Okay, with the mighty Sturmoviks. We've got another Flames of War game going on over there. And over here we got a 40K. Is that the 8th edition?
It is.
Awesome. Awesome. Yep, the 8th edition of 40K has officially released today. But as you can see, there's quite a few people here. They're playing different kinds of games out here in Game Empire, which is really cool because diversity is always a cool thing when you're playing games. I'm going to wander on over because over here, this is using Flames of War version 3, doing the Eastern Front early wars. So you're looking at 1941. The Germans are attacking, I believe, at this point. So just doing this panning of this. I see trains knocked over. So yeah, this is going to be an ugly fight. But it's going to be mega. It's going to be mega. Right, Leo?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Okay, the end of German turn 1. The Panthers attempted the blitz move. They failed. They moved anyways. Same thing. The reserves came on in the form of the Mark IVs. They attempted the blitz, failed. They moved on anyways. And the recon is, wow, they worked their way over here. Not only they had the little bubble from the spear point, but they really moved. They're really close to my mortars. Those mean old nasty rocket launchers decide to launch a salvo on my poor innocent 120mm mortars, and they pin my unit. There will be consequences for this. Okay, we're at the end of Russian turn 1, and my guardsmen were able to unpin and turn their fury on the Panthers over there. Ranged in, hit them, did not do any damage to them. That's just the way it works, folks. So we are now officially at the end of turn 1. We'll see what happens with turn 2. Okay, so we're at the end of turn 2. No, this end of German part of turn 2. Wow, what a turn. Panthers have broken their way through. The recon guys have moved. They are now within the objective. The Volksgrenadiers come through. They literally tabled my 120mm mortar guys. I only have a couple of units left of them. Panzer IVs have moved up, and now it is my half of turn 2. I'm so getting tabled. Okay, and that is it for German turn 2. Okay, what a development, folks, in one of the fastest games I've ever played. I got totally tabled by turn 2. I don't have any reserves. The Germans grabbed their objectives. My opponent, Richard, here, totally tabled me. What have I learned from this? I should have had my infantry intertwined with my mortars to make it a little bit harder for him to take it. That's my big takeaway. But I am learning, and this is my second version 4 game in late war. Okay, taking a look at other games out here. The Russians and Hungarians are still slugging it out. And over there, in another table, we got...
Here, we got an ace-off.
This looked pretty brutal over here. So who took it?
Germans.
Congratulations.
I'm the guy who won a game?
Yeah. Awesome. The Hungarians are still fighting the Russians here. It's not getting pretty. I guess the Sturmoviks, there was a limit to what they could do. But it's working. Moving over here. And my next opponent's going to be Hiato. Any comments you got to say, Hiato, before this next game? stay tuned for network identification.
This is the WRLD Network. All miniature gaming, all the time. This is the WRLD Network.
And we're back, so here, just catching up on turn 2 of the Mega Eastern Front game using version 3 of Flames of War rules. What?
Roads to Leningrad.
Roads to Leningrad, it
Approximately
is.
July 12th, 1941.
Okay, awesome.
And we have the Soviet defenses, and then if you contain the breakthrough, they've done a line of essentially laying out the rifle divisions and the gaps.
Okay.
Because much of where Army Group 100 is attacking, there's gaps in the forests and swamps. So this is a blocking force to stop the Germans if they were to come this way, and they have. And then the tank forces are coming up from reserve to meet wherever the German attacks are to counterattack them.
That works.
So
Awesome.
somewhere back there, we're waiting on the tanks.
Welcome. Welcome. Zarodidu. For your wondering, that's, you know, Russian. So going through here. So this is a 10,500 point per side game. So it's involving lots of players. You're using version 3 of the rules, as you can see here. And as you guys can see up here, it is very busy here today at Game Empire Pasadena. Just walking through, looking at all the players here from the different games. There's player testers, new games are being tried out. It's a pretty awesome experience here. This is going to be the next game I'm involved in, since I got tabled so easily by Richard on the first one. This is a free-for-all. I'm going up against Hayato. He's using a German force out of the Desperate Measures book, like I did for my Russian hero tank force. And we have deployed. The scenario is free-for-all, so there are no reserves. Everybody deploys their forces. And on here you can see he's got his 88s, he's got his infantry, 2 Jagd Panthers, okay, and nice job there on the 105mm with the camo netting. That is awesome. Okay, he does have an HS-129. I'm going to be a little concerned about that, because that's got a pop gun that can tear apart my tanks. And he's got some more infantry here on my side. Yay! What should have been in this first game was my T-34s, 76s. These are Guards heroes, so they get a little bit of an extra advantage. Over here, unlike my last game where I separated them, I intertwined my 120mm mortars with my SMG, my submachine gun guys. They are my motorized team without the transport. I now have my ISU-152 tanks, big, heavy gun. Nasty stuff, but I can be torn apart by aircraft. And here are my T-34 85s here. And this is my beloved commander of the entire force. Okay. And with that, we'll start turn 1 very shortly. Are you tired of dealing with tape measures that just don't have the flexibility? Are you sick and tired of those range finders that certain companies put out, and it really doesn't show you how far you can move with your tank? Well, we have a solution for you. This is in between the range finders and the tape measure. We have the Flexa ruler here, folks, because you know what? The thing about Flexa ruler, it is flexible. You need to go around the corner of a building? There you go. The Flexa ruler is going to do it for you. Do you need to go around tank wrecks? Guess what? Flexa ruler can do that. So you can find them at your local favorite stores. Flexa ruler, for those who need to get down to the gritty with measuring where their vehicles go. Okay, the end of turn one. I'm a little bit more aggressive now. This time I blitzed my guys, moved my T-34-85s up to take some machine gun shots at those guys. Hit, but no effect. Okay. My ISUs are moving up the street. This T-34-85 tried to take a shot at that lone little artillery piece over by the objective. Missed. So, other than that, that is the end of the Russia player turn one. We'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back after this.
Are you tired of playing snakes and ladders? Are you tired of playing Pinnacle? Are you tired of your mother's Warhammer 40K Pink Space Marines taking on the Space Pansy Elves? Time for a real game. Welcome to Flames of War. Flames of War covers World War II in 15mm scale. Here you have all the rules to cover the midpoint of the war, 42 to 43. Each page is lavishly illustrated with colorful photographs, diagrams, charts for ease of play. This is Flames of War, available at your fine discriminating local game stores.
And welcome back. Turn one, the end of German turn one, and we're finished with turn one as an entire turn. The 88s opened up on my T-34s, taking out one. The sad part was watching these guys die horrifically. We had the HS. The HS-129, known tank killer, is wanted in most of the provinces of the Soviet Union. Took out the tank, and then the Jagd Panthers over there opened up and took out two of my T-34s. It has not been a pretty day. I have got one failed out T-34-85 left. I have a feeling this unit is going to melt away. Anyways, so that is the end for turn one. Any words you want to tell? You still want to defend Germany?
Yeah. You're going down.
Oh, yeah, looks like it. All right. So where we are at the end of the top half of turn two, and at this point, I blitzed my T-34s up to take shots at the lone 88. I hit, but no effect. My 152s took a shot at the 105 in the woods. I took out one, and then my 120mm mortars went and took out two more of those camouflage 105s. So much for the camo on their first outing. He's going to have to do a unit formation test on that one. All right. So, any comments regarding your camouflaged artillery performance?
I don't know why you're gloating, because if you're just so proud to remove my camouflage, boo-hoo, because these guys are the more important ones, and I'm going to pretty sharp guys to me. All I have to do is blow him up, we'll blow him up.
And that's very true. But before I go down, not all the teeth on the ground will be mine. All right, and we'll be right back, folks. So guys, here we are, the bottom half of turn three. Infantry has moved out of their dugouts into the nice foresty position, previously occupied by those camouflaged howitzers. You can see that the other infantry, which are the core of his army, that they are moving out nice, wide in the open. The 88s attempted to shoot my T-34s. They took out one. I've got two left. I'm still in good spirits, and they're not going to stay there. They've got things to do. So now there's going to be punishment in this turn. All right, and without further delay, we'll move on.
It doesn't say he passed. That's true. It doesn't.
Top of turn four, right?
Now we're going to top of turn four. Yes.
Yeah, this is top of turn four here, and at this point, the T-34's blitz moved out here trying to stay away from the 88s and start machine gunning those guys. Did some damage there. The 120mm mortars opened up on these guys here. Took out a few units there. Again, for some hurt. Our ISUs went over and tried to hurt those guys over there. I think they took out a unit. And that is it for the turn. All right, here we are at the end of turn 4. And the Germans have decided to pile into half tracks and go hiding behind this cute little, I don't know, pig pen, whatever. These guys are now cowering behind the building here. I guess they didn't like 120 millimeter mortars. The Jagged Panthers decided to come out and play, and they took out one of my T-34s in the process. And then these lunkheads decided to pick a fight with my mortars, which that was a mistake. They did hit the mortar, but didn't damage it. And, well, these guys, well, yeah, look at that. Just the German manhood stuff, I'm telling you. Cowering in the woods like that, it's embarrassing. I don't know. It's obvious there's no SS around here. All right. And we're at the top of the next turn. So here we are at the end of the top half of turn 5, and my core units are in tatters. I'm barely hanging on by a thread for my army to retreat from the field. So I figured I might as well go out in the blaze of glory and make him bleed for it. I moved my remaining T-34, surviving the unit last stand, to take shots at the half track. Missed. My mortars get the commendation because they wiped out the 88, a pair of 88s. My commander finally came out from behind the building, scored a hit on the Jagged Panthers. The remaining T-34-85 unit came out and took a shot. Along with the ISU 152s, they came out to take shots and they wiped out the Jagged Panthers. The Germans do not have any tanks on the field. The problem is their core units are your infantry. They're still there. He can still win the game. I'm in worse shape than he is, but I have armor superiority on the field. That is my advantage with this.
And you're fearless.
Yes, on top of it, I am fearless. We are the Guard. We're the hero. We're not the Imperial Guard. Sorry, guys, for the AP Chem crew. We're not Imperial Guard, but we are Russian Guards. All right. With that, any words of vengeance I need to suffer the next turn? And with a word from our sponsor. Okay, guys, so here we are at the bottom of 5. German infantry are a little bit upset, and they decide to swarm my tank. And with the Panzerfaust hit, it bailed out the tank. On the close assault, the infantry charged. My tank crew fled. That's it. I am now down to my HQ, who's over here, and the 1T-34-85. So it all boils down to one dice roll. That's it. That one die roll, it will determine if I'm going to be here for another turn or not. What Hiato doesn't know is that next turn, I've got my observer up here, and I have got a target-rich environment. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to rain the pain, but I've got to survive the unit last stand test. More on that later.
Are you tired of using dice to indicate how much damage your unit has taken? Does it look so out of place that it just distracts from the appearance of the table? Well then, try Warlord Games pin markers. Yes, looks just like a little explosion. It's actually a dial with numbers on it. All you have to simply do when you need to change the status is just turn the knob to indicate how many hits your unit has taken place. It makes it look a lot prettier, certainly prettier than a white cube with black pips on it. Yeah, we thought so. Available at fine game stores everywhere. Please use the pin markers in a responsible manner. Thank you.
End of the top half of turn 6. Tanks have been moving forward. They took some shots, blew away an infantry stand, and the mortars hit the infantry team right where they needed it. Blew a bunch of guys away. The original CIC was killed. The second steps up to become the main guy. And, well, that's it. Now we're going to go for the bottom half. Well, folks, the game is over. I have pressed my luck. The HS-129, the Heinkel, armed with that big ugly-looking cannon there, took out the last tank here. Kaboom. And now my unit formation, I am now down to 1 HQ unit. I'm done. I have been hanging on the final threads of the game by just 1 tank in each. It has been quite the fight. The Germans bled for this. They really did. It was a good game. It was down to the wire. Special unit commendations goes to the 120mm mortar unit. Okay. And as you can see, it is in the afternoon, guys. And you can see here in Game Empire Pasadena, we are still very busy, very heavy. My understanding is there is a tournament today. It was also the first day of releasing the 8th edition Warhammer 40K set, but this I think was also RPG Day, so people got an opportunity to try out different games here as I'm making my way over to the Eastern Front.
The tanks have arrived. They're on that end.
Yes! Zarodinu!
If we get bogged down, do we shrink?
Okay. And they're coming. The little white-coated T-34s out there. Especially, this is 41, isn't it? It's 41? Yeah. That's going to hurt. See those 35 and 38 Ts? That's going to hurt. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The Germans have a Stuka. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. So as you can see, this fight is still going. So hopefully when I put this up tonight, they'll let me know how the game eventually turned out. Okay. One last scan here of everybody here in Game Empire Pasadena. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. As I slowly make my way over to the remaining Flames of War games out there. Yeah, the second game was a lot more fun. And it's still bloody.
Yeah, very bloody.
So, Richard, he's not so easy to beat as I was, huh?
I lasted a bit longer. I dragged on longer.
I think you were more interested in taking pictures.
You're funny.
That's good.
Well, I'll try to post it up tonight. Okay? And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are signing off. Take care and God bless.